Very good afternoon to you. Thank you for making time to join us in Citizen Live at 1. I am Anki Guta. Now, as Operation Usalama Watch continues into most parts of the country, police in Nyeri County have nabbed more than 20 people in the area found without identification documents. This comes even as some residents in Wajir County heeded to the government's call to surrender illegal firearms. Michael Njenga has that story.
Police in Nyeri County have apprehended 27 suspects during an overnight swoop that involved over 100 police officers. The door-to-door operation targeted Majengo, Kiawara and Wetemere areas. According to the police, most of the suspects arrested had no proper identification documents.
We have also arrested people who didn't have the identity cards. They are saying they are Kenyans, yes, but we need to get their identity as per the identifications.
During the 1 a.m. operation, police also managed to recover stolen items, including motorbikes and television sets. Nyeri Central Police Boss Daniel Nyange said his team will not relent and that the operation will be extended to other parts of the county. This latest development comes in the wake of massive police crackdown on illegal immigrants and suspected terrorists. And just days after President Uhuru Kenyatta announced amnesty to those who would wish to return illegal weapons, residents of Johar in Wajir County have heeded to his call and are now returning their weapons and ammunition. Receiving the weapons, Deputy County Commissioner David Rotich called on all the residents to follow suit and urged the local administrators to do door-to-door campaigns to urge those with illegal weapons to return them.
Toa wito kwa wananchi wa sehemu hii watupatie habari yoyote ambayo itatusaidia kukabiliana na uhalifu tukiwa tunatumia wito wa serikali wa nyumba 10.
The president has time and again urged those with illegal firearms to return them to the local administrators or religious leaders before the amnesty period lapses and the government embarks on forceful disarmament. Michael Njenga, Live at 1, Nairobi.
An impeachment motion against Baringo Governor Benjamin Cheboy may soon be brought on the floor of the County Assembly after a member issued a notice on the same on grounds of alleged gross violation of procurement law. Our Kendagor Obadiah reports.
At the Baringo County Assembly, the first step to remove Baringo Governor Benjamin Cheboy was initiated.
I hereby give a notice of motion as per the Standing Order number 45. That the Governor of Baringo County, His Excellency Benjamin C. Cheboy, stand ground for impeachment on well-informed grounds of gross violations of provisions of the Constitution and the laws of this land, Mr. Speaker.
Cheboy is being accused of floating procurement rules by awarding tenders to contractors without notices and creating an emergency fund without informing the Assembly, among other improprieties.
The major issue here is procurement. Does other counties don't have procurement? Do they not follow the procurement procedure that they spend more than 65% of their budget? And here in Baringo, there is some risk of some money going back to the treasury.
But the leader of majority, Elijah Thoroitich, claims that the MCAs are disgruntled that the governor is reluctant to give them the 2 million shillings car grants they have been pushing for.
The core business of that motion is this 2 million every member wants. If we would, there could be some rocket science that this money can actually be wired to their accounts, I think we'll have the relaxing of the muscles.
But the County Assembly appear to be divided over impeachment of Governor Benjamin Cheboy.
I'm saying we are not going to impeach a governor. I cannot dispute whether to support or what. As time goes by, I will make a final decision.
After the notice of impeachment motion, MCAs are expected to debate it after 7 days. Kendagor Obadiah, Citizen at 1.
A circumciser and the parents of a girl who bled to death after undergoing female genital mutilation have been arraigned in court. The three will spend the night at the Machakos prison as they await a medical evaluation on their mental status. The girl's age was, however, indicated as 19 years, contradicting earlier reports given at 13.
A mother holds her breastfeeding baby in a crowded courtroom at the Machakos Law Courts. She's the mother of a girl who had been described as a 13-year-old and who died after a female genital mutilation gone wrong, only to be said to be 19 when the matter came up for mention in court Thursday. The circumciser also appeared in the court together with the father of the deceased. On 13th April 2014, a girl, Raiman Tangusa, from Karero, Ilodokilani sublocation, Kajiado County, forcefully underwent the outlawed female genital mutilation, FGM. She bled to death. Police launched a search for Serena Korinko, said to be the circumciser, and the parents of the deceased who had gone into hiding. The three spent the night at the Machakos prisons as they awaited a mental checkup today at Machakos Level 5 Hospital. They will take their plea on 8th May 2014. Judy Kozge, Citizen at 1.
When 19-year-old Abigail Jalagat took to riding the boda boda at her hometown of Kapsabet, she was mocked for having ventured into a male-dominated field. But Jalagat, who dropped out of school for lack of school fees, never gave up on her decision. She says her motivation was to raise funds to go back to school.
From a distance, this just looks like a group of boda boda operators camping at the Kapsabet town centre in wait for the next available customer. But a closer look at the group immediately allows one to spot a unique operator, Abigail Jalagat. In what is a male-dominated profession, Jalagat has managed to not only easily blend into the profession as with her fellow colleagues, she has also quickly become a business threat.
Huyu dem bana ametupatia kombe sana. Hata vile tulikuwa tunafanyanga kazi nao, hata huyu ametuchukua sana mbali.
They're just my brothers. Tunakaanga hapo hivi. Customer akikuja, unajua kwanza kama mimi ni dem, wengi wao wanapenda, wanakuwa interested, wanasema okay, nataka kubeba na huyu leo, naambia it's okay. Then they are not feeling jealousy.
But not everything was as easy for Jalagat, who was until 2012 when she started this profession, a Form 2 student at Namgoi Secondary School, before she dropped out.
Nikakuwa na upungufu wa karo. Sasa nikaona okay, kama pikipiki najua kuendesha, then nikaamua tu nikasema wacha nianze kazi ya boda boda cause nilikuwa na hiyo courage.
It is a quest for a decent education that has seen Jalagat ride her boda boda every day for the last 2 years, though she admits that she is restricted compared to her male counterparts.
Mi lazima nifunge kazi yangu 6 kwa sababu mimi ni dem, sababu ya securities. Uwezi ukaamini ati kwa sababu wale wanafanya they are men na mimi ni mwanamke, saa inabidi tu.
Truth be told though, business is good for Jalagat.
Hello. Mzuri? Yes, ndio niko. Okay, aya sawa, nakuja saizi.
If the constant calls she gets between our interview is anything to go by. A woman who has decided not to sit down and wait for the sun to set on her dreams, but to see every sunset as a promise of a new dawn.
South Sudan is withdrawing the case against 4 top politicians accused of plotting the coup that triggered the current civil war. The 4, whose release from detention had been a key demand of the rebels, however, deny plotting the coup and claim to have links to the ongoing fighting. The country's justice minister reportedly said that the case was being dropped in the interests of peace and reconciliation, and that the 4 would probably be released by Friday. Some 1 million people have been forced from their homes since fighting broke out in December 2013. To other news now locally, and the Senate Finance and Budget Committee is cautioning government against settling debts with the Anglo-leasing-linked firms as the motion to see Parliament's endorsement for government's decision to pay off the firms was shelved. Committee Chairman Bill Okero says the inflation of the value of the projects from the initial 54 billion shillings to 125 billion shillings is suspicious. Sylvia Chebet reports.
The National Assembly's Budget and Finance Committees were reportedly moving with speed to study a report seeking Parliament's endorsement of government's plans to pay off firms involved in the multi-billion Anglo-leasing contracts. But lack of quorum aborted their mission to jointly table their report before the House. It, however, remains an urgent matter which the committees hope will be concluded next week. Even then, the Senate Budget and Finance Committee cautions the National Assembly not to approve such payments.
What is interesting is that as late as 2011, all attempts that have been made to pay had been rejected, for the simple reason that in many of those contracts there were no goods or services that had been delivered. They were phantom projects, overpriced, overstated, and we were going to lose the 54 billion. How do you pay them today 125 billion for contracts that were at the time valued at 54 billion? It doesn't make sense.
And Uhuru, if you pay, the question Kenyans will ask you is, what has changed? You are the same Uhuru who refused as the chairman of public accounts, and will you be the same Uhuru who will then append your signature that these contracts be paid?
The contracts were cancelled in 2006 when evidence of massive overpricing of goods and services and non-delivery of the same came to light.
The Public Accounts Committee carried out extensive investigations and concluded and submitted a report to Parliament that had two fundamental recommendations. One, that those contracts be cancelled, all the 18, properly meaning legally. Second, no further payments should be made.
The Constitution is alive. If any government visits on the people of Kenya that kind of atrocity, then that opens ground for a vote of no confidence in that particular government.
Kenya is currently reeling from a serious budget deficit alongside a 1.5 trillion shilling debt. The cabinet, however, believes having a closure on the Anglo-leasing scandal will enable government access to sovereign bonds. But does it make economic sense?
According to international law, the debts must be acceptable debts. They must be debts that can be verified, that can be audited, that can be determined, goods and services have been delivered. And that responsibility of challenging those decisions in a court of law is ours. For heaven's sake, that's why we have an AG.
The government has reportedly spent almost £500 million shillings in accountancy and legal services and yet lost the cases.
Kenya Wildlife Service officers have arrested 3 suspects in Nyahururu with ivory estimated at over 600,000 shillings. The suspects had 4 tusks weighing 49 kilos.
Caught with their hands right in the cookie jar, this man and 2 women had their eyes fixed on a cool 600,000 shillings that they would have made had they sold this loot. Little did they know that it was not going to be that easy. Game rangers in Nyahururu were waiting for the opportune moment to nab them. They laid a trap and posed as buyers for this precious commodity. The suspects were ferrying the loot in this car from Kinamba area when KWS officers intercepted the car at Kaichakuni area and arrested the occupants. KWS says the 3 are among a cartel of suspects believed to be behind the rising cases of poaching and ivory trade.
We will not continue losing the elephants every now and then, and yet the suspect have known. We will follow you, up, and if by any chance you are found, we will no longer take you to the police station. We will shoot you on the spot.
KWS says that poachers were taking advantage of the human-wildlife conflict in the area to kill the elephants.
The moment people have actually started killing these elephants, then we'll be losing our heritage. So it is now the war between KWS and poachers. And that is why I'm repeating it very strongly, that we are going to act on the poachers very sternly. We will not relent on this.
Laikipia boasts of 250 adult elephants and 75 calves. The new anti-poaching law stipulates a fine of not less than 20 million shillings or a life sentence or both against anyone caught trading in ivory. Samuel Ramtu, Citizen Live at 1.
A non-profit making organization, Help a Child Face Tomorrow, has performed corrective surgery on more than 200 children with cleft palate and cleft lip conditions in Nandi County. This was in partnership with the county government of Nandi. Mukami Chaka with that story.
It is every mother's joy to see her child's smiling face, a smile that every child deserves. The Help a Child Face Tomorrow Foundation gave over 200 children with cleft lip and cleft palate conditions the power to face the world after they performed corrective surgery free of charge.
The children, we refer to them early about when the child is about 3 months, because by then there's less psychological trauma to the parents, and then they are able to, when they grow up, the time for school, they can actually be able to go into the systems that are already there. They can go to school, they can be able to start talking properly, they can be able to eat properly, so they're growing properly without any problems on.
Patients with the condition may not be able to eat, drink or breathe normally, but the surgery, which only takes 45 minutes, enables them to live a normal and healthy life.
Niko na watoto wawili, mmoja ndio huyu amekuja kuundwa ya mara ya pili. Ndani ako na shida ya ndani, alikuwa ametengenezewa ya kwanza juu. Alafu kuna huyu mdogo wa matiti, angeweza kushika vizuri matiti, lakini ninaona saa hizi nikijaribu anashika matiti. Yani niko na furaha.
The surgeries were carried out at the Kapsabet Referral Hospital in conjunction with the Nandi County government. Mukami Chaka for Citizen Live at 1.
Busia Governor Sospeter Ojamong has faulted Busia security chiefs over rising cases of insecurity in the county. He said the police were sleeping on the job even after being supplied with 24 patrol vehicles to tame the vice. Speaking during the launch of a 50 million shilling Busia County bursary scheme at the Busia Youth Polytechnic, Ojamong said the latest of such incidents occurred on Tuesday night when a businessman was shot dead at Amerikwai area.
Our police officers and administration, I think, were asleep. Imagine civilians doing a chase from Malaba up to Nabala, which means there's no communication system between the police force or the administration police or the provincial administration totally. It matters me who informed the county commissioner early in the morning that this happened. Our system, I think the national government, please, if you don't have the capacity, you can see and look at my askaris here, very sharp guys. If you don't have the capacity, tell me to recruit me and then we hit the road.
Well, it's World Malaria Day today, and joining me now in studio to discuss the gains Kenya has made is Dr. Rebecca